I'm Joey.
I'm Jason.
And this is Metal
Monster Reviews.
Today we're going to be talking about a film from 1964. It's time to start talking about some Japanese monster movies. So we're going to discuss Godzilla vs. Mothra. It's a classic amongst the Godzilla series. It was also released in an American release known as Godzilla vs. a Thing. Now, most people have seen this. Hey, they're familiar. They know who Mothra is. They know who Godzilla is. So when you put these two monsters together, what do you get? You get an exciting hour and a half of monster action. Jason, would you like to talk about the plot?
Well, the plot starts out, there's a massive tsunami, and it washes ashore this giant egg. And then they're looking at the egg, and greedy businessmen want to buy the egg. And I think it's a pretty cool way how he figures out to offer money for the egg.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
Yeah. So you have this business aspect coming in here. So it's not every day that you find a monster egg on, just in your hometown. But hey, what the hell? They're pretty much accustomed to it now. You know what I mean? They see this, and they're not even freaked out by it that much. So you have somebody here who wants to buy the egg, make it a tourist attraction for people to come and see. And you get these two fairies that come from Monster Island, who the egg belongs to their monster god, Mothra. Would you like to tell us a little bit about Mothra?
Well, in this movie, Mothra is on the verge of dying. She's old. And the fairies want them to return the egg back to Mothra. But the evil businessmen don't want to do that. They want to try to make money. They want to open up an amusement park and charge people to see this giant egg, which I'd probably pay to see it, I ain't gonna lie. But...
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, you think of that, it's like, my God, what an omelet that would be. So basically, they end up going back to their island, and you get a couple of people here who have a level head and said, look, give them their egg back. It belongs to them. And at this time, Godzilla shows up. He emerges from the ground.
That's one of the weirdest ones.
It's strange to see him like that, normally. So he emerges from the ground, destroys the city, as usual, in his typical fashion. So they want to go back to the island and say, hey, look, would you guys send Mothra over here to help since we tried to help you get your egg back? And then the fighting begins. And what's really cool about this is that you have these practical effects that they use, because there's an art to filming these. You have to film from low angles. You can see the miniature sets in really cool detail. Would you say so?
Oh yeah, my favorite part is when Godzilla's walking through the industrial plant. They show a shot of an actual factory. Godzilla's blue screen in the background, but then when they shoot to the miniature set, there's so much little detail when Godzilla's walking through and he's hitting the little pipes. You can see them bouncing up off the ground. The miniatures are amazing,
and that's what's pretty neat about it, is because you have what you had here in these movies. You had somebody in a suit, and they would just kind of film from a low angle, and they would just destroy the set. It became so entertaining that you knew what you were getting with these movies. So it never really disappointed. You had a lot of good monster fighting. And during this series here, it was the name of the Honda?
This is the Showa era of Godzilla. And it starts from Gojira, or the American dub version, Godzilla King of the Monsters. It extends the whole way up to the Terror of Mechagodzilla. That's the Showa era of Godzilla. And this is the fourth film in the series. So before this was King Kong versus Godzilla. And this is I consider the final film in the Showa era where Godzilla's a villain. After this, he tends to be the defender of Earth. And then it gets more directed to children. But this is the last one I consider he's a villain.
Yeah, and it's really cool seeing him a villain, too. I mean, I just enjoy the Godzilla movies overall, but there's something about it when he's just a villain and just destroying everything. And you have the military trying everything, missiles, planes, bombs, electricity, and nothing's stopping him. And because he's just this radioactive atomic king of the monsters. So anytime he has to fight, it's always entertaining to watch because Mothra really did give him a good fight. You know what I mean? You would think you have this radioactive, monster here, dinosaur basically, and you got a damn moth. You know what I mean? But listen, as goofy as it sounds, it's really entertaining to watch. Now, with that series that you were mentioning, that was from what the 50s until what, 1979?
I'm not sure. The Terror of Mechagodzilla, I think it was the late 70s. That was the last Godzilla of the Show era. Then there was no more Godzilla till 1984. When that one came out, that era was considered the Heisei era. It was from Return of Godzilla up to Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Oh, that's great too, because that was marking like an anniversary of Godzilla. With that, so.
Then the next series was considered the Millennium series, which I think was cool why that started, because America got the rights to Godzilla in '98 and made that abomination, and it pissed Toho off so bad that they made Godzilla 2000. Well, it was released in '99 overseas, but we didn't get it till 2000, so they slapped that logo on it. And it ran up to, I believe, 2004. Godzilla Final Wars was the last film in the Millennium series.
Yeah, and then some years went by, and then they did in 2016, what was that? Shin Godzilla. So they kind of rebooted the franchise. But at this time, too, we've had here in the past several years, in 2014, you had the American version of Godzilla. Then in 2019, you had Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And then we just recently had Godzilla vs. King Kong. So I'm glad to see that Godzilla's kind of making a comeback. And from the first film in 1954 until now, Godzilla has still been a kind of a big name. And that's what I like to see, that, they're still doing it. But for those who aren't familiar with the original series, hey, check them out and see what these movies are about. You know what I mean? Check out, there's so many that you can watch, and you can just kind of get a jump start anywhere you want to go. But this is a good one to start with.
Oh, there's if you watch it closely, there's even a couple little bloopers in this movie that they actually left in, like when the military's attacking Godzilla, and some of the stuff they use for explosive actually caught the suit's head on fire.
Yes. The actor was not hurt, but yes, the actual suit caught fire, and that wasn't meant to happen, but it was left in for a dramatic effect. And another scene there too, you could see when he's walking, he actually loses his footing and slips and falls and lands into a building. But it was left in there because it makes it seem like, hey, Godzilla is just destroying this building.
Another little cool fact about this movie is this is the first movie that has some of Godzilla's most iconic theme songs in it.
Yes, it does.
And after this movie, they pretty much put that in every Godzilla movie.
Yes, that iconic Godzilla theme. And if you've never heard it, hey, check it out, look it up, watch some of these movies, and you'll hear this theme repeating over and over again. And you'll hear other music from there too that you'll hear in later films. And even some of the more recent ones will pay homage to some of these classic movies.
And this is definitely one I recommend to check out. It's not, like I said, later in this show series, they get more directed towards children, and they get pretty fucking goofy. But
this is true, as and if you want to see some of these ones that are a little more
don't get me wrong, I love them all, but
take it with a grain of salt and be prepared for what you're watching with some of those later ones, because they really do kind of go off the deep end. Godzilla versus a smog monster, hey, give a hoot, don't pollute. I think was kind of the moral of the story there. But these are great monster movies, and they're from an era where monster movies were really popular. So hey, don't let these movies die off. Give them a watch and check them out. You have anything else, Dad?
Nope. Just check it out. Keep the monsters alive.
That's right. Check it out. I'm Joey,
I'm Jason.
and this is Metal
Monster
Reviews.